3, 2, 1, 8.
On KBLA, James Farr's on the mic, lifting up the people, keeping hope in sight. With Altadena spirit, he fights the good fight, speaking truth to power, shining the light. Try to break us, but we're standing tall. Lost our homes, but we ain't lost at all. Through the smoke and the ashes, we see the sun. Altadena's fight has just begun.
Just begun. Begun.
We'll rise again, we'll build it strong. Through the struggle, yes, we belong. Hand in hand, through dust and pain, Altadena's heart remains.
Live from Leimert Park, KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. I am your host, James Farr, and I want to thank you for checking in with us this morning. This is the show of record, and we are chronicling for the nation the January Altadena Eaton Canyon Fire, which devastated a black community. Before we get started with today's program, I want to invite you to like us on social media. You can follow us across all social media platforms at KBLA Talk 1580. You can follow me at James Farr Live across all social media. And then our podcasts are available. If you've missed any previous episodes, we're available on all major podcast platforms, or you can check us out on the YouTube page, KBLA Talk 1580 YouTube page, to catch up on previous episodes. Really grateful and appreciative that you've allowed me into your cars, into your living rooms, your kitchens. You may be out in the garage, and today it's raining, here in Southern California, and so maybe you're doing something around the house. But I'm so appreciative that you have allowed me into your space. Thank you. And I appreciate all the phone calls, emails that we're receiving about the show. Our phone lines are open at 1-800-920-1580, 1-800-920-1580. Let me tell you about today's program. At the bottom of the hour, Senior Pastor Jonathan DeCuir with Victory Bible Church. He's going to phone in this morning. We're going to talk about the Ashes to Anthems benefit concert, which is happening today, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that at Memorial Park. But at the top of the hour, every community should be so lucky. Should be so fortunate. And I've joked about and kind of fantastically said that if Wakanda were a real place, that Altadena would be one of those neighborhoods and communities in it. It would also have this business. It would have this brother, who is my brother, Perry Bennett, who is the owner of Perry's Joint. And we're going to take a look at the impact on small businesses. And, Perry brought his business to the area well over 2 decades ago, and so he is one of those institutions that we love and greatly appreciate in the community. So Perry will be joining us, but quick facts, all facts, no caps. The impact on small businesses in the area. There's been a lot of attention. We talk about the homeowners and residents who were displaced, but what do you do when your customer base is gone, right? How do you rebuild, right? When we look at the billions of dollars over the next 5 years that have been projected as an economic output to be lost from this community, we're talking about restaurants, we're talking about hair salons, we're talking about small businesses that are all impacted by this this deadly fire in this situation. And so I want you to consider supporting some of these black businesses, some of these small businesses in the region who are really trying to figure it out. Little Red Hen comes to mind, Rhythms of the Village, and obviously Perry's Joint, just to name a few. These are staples in the community. They've been greatly impacted, and I want you to support them. When we come forward, Perry Bennett is going to be in the seat, and I'm excited. I can't wait to have this conversation. This brother go back years and years and years, and just what he represents in our community. Well, we'll talk more about that on the other side when we come forward. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580, Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers.
The station you turn to when you had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
On January 7th, 2025, the Eaton Canyon Fire scorched Altadena, torching everything in its path. Homes, wealth, and legacy burned in one night. But will Altadena rise from the ashes? I'm James Farr. On the Conversation Live Altadena Rising, we're chronicling the recovery, the resilience, and justice for the nation. This is the show of record, unapologetically progressive. We're not blacking down. So join me, James Farr, on the Conversation Live Altadena Rising every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific with the rebroadcast on Sunday at noon.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. Find a righteous rage and don't be afraid to say what you see. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
And welcome forward. KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising, and I am your host, James Farr. I told you before we come forward that every community should be so fortunate to have a brother like this in it, and his family and his business and really just his heart, right? Like that is something that I just cannot tout and talk about enough. But he's known for his sandwiches, the jazz, and really the heart, as I was saying a little bit earlier. Over 20 years ago, Perry Bennett left San Francisco and brought his business to the Pasadena area, right on the border of Altadena. And over time, he's just really kind of like baked himself into the community, right? And, he does so much in terms of his give backs. He does things that, and if you know anything about him, you'll meet him in just a few seconds. Like, Perry is not one that does interviews. Like, he is not the person that is looking for any clout, any recognition. But I'm going to take this opportunity, since I tricked him into coming down here, to really love on him and tell him how much I know the community appreciates him. I'm going to welcome my brother, the owner of Perry's Joint, Brother Perry Bennett, into the seat. Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Good morning. How you doing, sir? Good to see you. It's an honor to be here, more than you know.
More than I know?
I'm beaming right now for multiple reasons.
Multiple reasons.
And it's really, honestly, to kind of just see you on the other side. What people don't know is, when I first came here in, 2004, I came down here from the Bay, right, as and I was, Perry's Joint struggled, for a long time, and you and your family was one of the first families that came in and supported me and held me down. And, whatever I can do now to be on this side of the seat and to watch you do your thing, man, I mean, it's, so you're exactly right. One, this is what I normally don't do. This is not my forte.
Right.
But to be able to sit here and to be able to be on the other side of the counter, as you will, right, in the seat, man, it's such an honor, and I'm just glad I'm here, man.
Man, well, I'm not going to, this is supposed to be me loving on you.
I know, but we're going to keep it real. Everybody that know me, know everything I do is genuine. And it's not scripted. No. I didn't even know what we was going to talk about. I just was here to support you and to support the community like, I always do.
Yeah, I mean,
And,
when you say family, right? Because when you going back to '04, I didn't have kids, right? It was just me and the wife,
Right,
and
the wife.
you had
Even
babies,
before,
right? Like your babies was babies,
Mm-hmm.
and to kind of see how over this 20+ year process, like now my daughter works at one of your locations,
Yes.
and we should know
your daughter was literally raised.
Yes.
In the we have pictures of Kennedy, his daughter, at what age 2,
3, yeah,
2, behind the counter putting sodas in the soda box, and this is real. I mean, you couldn't write this like what we did,
right,
and like for real. Like I don't, I don't mean to be emotional, and I know that's not what this show is about, right? But really, if you look at what we did, and this is a you and I thing, man, where you had a young black family come down here to a black business, a black area, and open a business. And like I said, we were struggling. We were barely making it. And then here you and your wife came and you supported us. And then when you had a child,
right,
you not only supported,
right,
you raised your daughter
right
in the business to where, she was, even before she understood what a black business was,
right,
or what it meant to be a family,
right?
The fact that, I mean, that was just so special within itself, man. And, Kennedy, still works with us and about to graduate. And, man, I mean, it's the story's still being written.
Still being written. So let's talk about why, because, kind of it was becoming a theme here here on Conversation Live, is that our audience is learning, as Chris Holden, former Assemblyman Chris Holden, said, that it's a city, and my brother Todd Lawrence with the Hall of Fame says this also, that it is a city that everybody that knows somebody that knows somebody. Right. So you didn't know nobody. No. I didn't know anybody.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out, why did you move? We've talked about it a little bit. How do you come? Because we both from the Bay. How do you land from the city, from San Francisco, from the Fillmore, right?
Yes.
What does that look like? What brings you here?
Right. So at the time, I'm going to try to get a short version. It was the late 90s, and, San Francisco, the dot-coms was coming in. They were pushing all the small businesses out. San Francisco was a magical place, man. It had so much culture and so much love, and all the different parts. And Perry's Joint was right there in the Fillmore since 93. But it was starting to get really expensive to just do business there. And a lot of small businesses like myself was going out. Even Oakland was starting to be gentrified at the time. And housing was going out of control. My wife has a really good friend, one of her best friends, Tracy Glover, who lived in Altadena. And we just came down to visit, actually. And it was like, let's go down, let's check it out. And we were actually maybe thinking about, because my wife is originally from Southern California.
Right. But she's not from Altadena.
She's not from
Altadena. From Pasadena.
No, not from Pasadena.
Okay, so
right.
We all transplant.
Right. So exactly.
Yeah.
So she's not from here. So really, her best friend lived here, and we came to visit. And honestly, I didn't want to leave the Bay. I love, I got a lot of love for San Francisco, Oakland, the town, as you know, Richmond, from where you're from. But let me tell you, when I came down here, I witnessed and saw things that I never saw before.
Tell me about that. What was it?
Right. So at the time, I had 2 little kids. Growing up in the Bay, there's a lot of love, a lot of positivity, but there's a lot of things you necessarily don't want to raise your kids in the city. So to be able to go into Altadena, and Altadena specifically is why I moved here. One of the first things I noticed, they drove me up towards the park, Loma Alta Park. And I saw something I've never seen before.
What'd you see?
I saw a young youth, all black baseball team. I've never seen that I was like, where are we here? You were talking about a Wakanda moment. All black baseball. And they were young. They were young kids, man. And it was peaceful. And it was up against the mountains. And it was green and it was clean. And I saw a community that had homes. I didn't see a bunch of projects. I didn't see burnt out cars. I didn't see, the
it's
things
different.
that you normally see. I didn't know what is this place? It was so different. So I was like, I automatically knew this is where I wanted to raise my children. Right? Even when I finally opened, and they told me a lot of things about the school, about John Muir, about, the kids might be this, the kids might be that, right? we necessarily in the city didn't have like Pride Week. We didn't have the turkey tussle. We didn't have like the drum corps. So I saw all these things I've never in my life have seen. I don't even know if the people at Altadena really realized how valuable and important
it's so and it's special,
and how
though?
special it
Like
was.
it
Was so special. And I think because they were from here, it was
Right.
like, this is what we always do. But a transplant like myself, seeing these things, I've never seen a drum corps. I've never seen the Pride Week. I've never a turkey tussle.
But we got to park on the drum line, right?
Okay.
The drum corps,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
drum corps.
I mean,
First time in my life.
right? So me too, right?
Okay.
It was new to me, and I lived
Yes.
right across the street from the school, so
Okay,
I used to
right,
hear them
right. You
practicing
would hear 'em.
every
Yep.
day,
Yep.
right? Morning and afternoon.
Yep.
But it's not so much only the students,
Right.
it's the alumni, right?
Oh,
it's
it's
the
the
older
alumni.
people
Yes.
who
Yes.
community members who
doubt.
still play and
Still
like
play,
have that connected
still come back,
thing.
still talk about. I mean, there's people that the way they talk about their city and the way they talk about the history of it. Again, I've never experienced anything like that in my lifetime because I was always in the city is just go 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 go. I mean, you know what it is.
Right,
It's happening, man,
right,
and
right.
I can't take nothing. And it's something about when growing up there, you get your own thing. But this was different, and especially when it comes to raising kids, I wanted my children to be a part of what Altadena had.
So let's push through. So your first store opened in 2004, 2005.
Yeah, in Altadena.
Right.
Yes.
So it is right like 2 blocks up the street from John Muir High School.
Yep.
Right. And
Exactly.
for those who it's famously where Jackie Robinson went to high school. But so you're right there in the community, and over the years, I don't want to lose this point because I think it's so important, Pete. Over the years, you've watched kids matriculate.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I mean, you've had kids.
100% is the best part of it.
They come back with their families, right?
And they come back.
And they
and
miss
the
the
things
beat.
that they say.
You know.
So a young man walked in, this had to be maybe 3 weeks ago, and I forgot his name because he graduated maybe like 12 years ago.
Okay.
Right? He walked in, and I knew him. I was like, because he had a beard, but he still had a baby face. So it was almost like he put on a fake beard. I was like, oh, he used to go to school. And so, but he walked out, and I was tripping like, why did he walk out? And then it was interesting. The store was empty. And he walked back in, and he said, remember me, Mr. Perry? And I said, man, of course I remember you. How you doing? He said, one moment. And then he motioned to the door, almost like he practiced this. And this young woman and 2 children walked in. And he motioned them over to him. And they stood by. And it was this little queen.
Wow.
And he said, Mr. Perry, I want to introduce you to my wife and my 2 children. He says, I have a third, but then he's not with me. But we were in the area, and I just wanted to stop so you could see my family.
What are those moments like,
brother? I'd take off these headphones, brother. I would. You could tell, like he said, he stopped. He wanted to show me his family. It was almost as if I grew up watching you and your family, Mr. Perry. I used to come in here. You used to ask me how my day was, how was school, and I couldn't wait for the opportunity to come back and say, Mr. Perry, now this is my wife, and these are my 2 children. And that's who he was standing in front of, what I was seeing. And those are the things. Perry's joint and the sandwiches are just the reason. The people and the purpose is the goal. I just came up with that too. That's pretty good.
That's a bar.
That's
a bar.
That came out of nowhere.
I'm not going to let this moment pass without saying and Perry doesn't brag about this, but once a year you dedicate a day. I mean, we hear people talking about boycotts and do this, buy black, but and I'm with all of it, right?
Right.
But one day out of the year, you set aside a day where whatever comes to your register.
Yeah, for sure.
You identify kids, high school students that you've watched, and you just write them a check.
Yeah.
And you do that with one condition, at least only one condition I've heard, heard is that they just, kind of remember the community that supported them.
That's it.
That's it. I'm going to say it so you don't have to say it, but I know you've given away thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. No foundation. Mm-mm. You have a nonprofit?
Nope.
You have a scholarship fund?
No.
So you and your wife, you and your family, take that money that otherwise. So this is kind of turned into, I've seen people pay $50 for a sandwich.
Right. Oh, yeah.
$100 for a sandwich.
For sure. People have walked up to me in the supermarket. Mm-hmm. People and literally, I had a brother grab my hand and put $100 in my hand and say, brother, I know what you're going to do with it. People would just come and they'll just give me money. They'll just see me randomly and just give me money and say, I know what you're going to do with it.
Well, I was supposed to talk about small business impact, right?
Yes.
Because if the KBLA delegation will be familiar, we were supposed to do a broadcast from your store in the immediate aftermath of the fire, but the National Guard was there and we couldn't get access to it.
Yeah.
How have you been impacted, right, since the fire? You also own another property in Altadena that was the home to the Little Red Hen.
Right.
You know, how has business been since this fire?
Well,
how are you seeing it?
Actually, it's a couple impacts, right? You know, because you got how I move. I've been impacted financially, of course. Actually, business has been pretty good only because of the relief workers in the area. There's so many relief workers in the area that's set up right on Woodbury. They have to eat. So they have made up the difference from unfortunately, the community being gone, right? But they're starting to leave now. So, you know, we haven't, like many other people, we haven't really got to the true impact of what this is going to look like until months later, I hate to use the term, but the dust hasn't settled all the way, realistically, right? So I can't say this is what it's going to look like, but once the disaster relief workers leave, then I'll truly know financially how we've been impacted.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, is that sustainable, right? Like, does that look like a pathway that's going to, because you have thousands, 20-something thousand people that were in the area.
Right.
And, you know.
And that's hard to make up. I'm going to have to just hold on. I'm going to have to do what again, I'm not a nonprofit. I don't have any funds. I usually just hold on, but I have always used my secret weapon. And that is...
What's that? Hold on.
Are you ready?
Is it Spider-Man?
No. Man, that's a whole nother show. It is a whole nother show. But I've used the secret weapon, right? And my secret weapon is truly faith and the power of the universe. And it has worked for me. I just simply believe. I believe to no end.
I didn't hit it at the top of the show, but
yes,
the burning question today is faith without work dead, right? Like, can you press forward? And when we talk with Pastor Jonathan in the bottom half of the hour, that's kind of where I'm gonna go with him with this concert. But in the immediate aftermath of the fire, like, I think you were one of the first people I talked to, and you were like, "Bro, Farr is, it's bad."
Oh yeah, it's bad. It was bad. I couldn't even front when it's bad. I'm the most positive individual. You know me.
Yeah.
I don't care. It's raining today. I know the sun. I look at it as I see the clouds and the rain like everybody else, but actually I live in that. I know how bright that sun is above the clouds. Right. So I'm all good every day, right? This is I couldn't front on what I saw and how bad this was. I used the term with you it was a
closed casket.
A closed casket.
It's
what we did. Yes. Yeah. We used closed casket is what we used, and that's what I felt. That this, and even the people that came in, it was hard for me to put a pretty bow on this one. So right now the only thing I can do is do what I've always done every day, is be there, and whenever they need me, whenever they need the place, then they come through, and that's what people are using it for, a familiar place, a comfortable place to come, because everything else is gone.
Yeah, and we got up for just a couple of minutes before we got to get out of here. And that's what you've always done, is made your space available for community, right? It is that familiar place, right? It kind of just reminds me when we used to do Speak Out 8 years, however many years ago, where people were able to meet, gather, fellowship. I think that's even more important now. So 3 locations?
3 locations.
You have Sierra Madre.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're on Lincoln.
I'm on Lincoln, and we're going to, and I'm at the airport.
Burbank Airport.
So we have a kiosk, Airport, right? Yes. So anyone that's flying out of Burbank Airport, you don't have to suffer on the airplanes any longer. You can get yourself a nice big fat juicy sandwich. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to open on the corner of Lincoln and Orange Grove across from the post office in Pasadena. And that is going to kind of morph into like a beer and wine speakeasy in the evening. So that's going to be kind of cool, too.
Brother Bennett, I appreciate you stopping by.
No problem, man.
I got to punch this
man,
clock.
I know. It's beautiful, man. We could do this all day.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much. I'm honored.
Absolutely. When we come forward, Pastor Jonathan DeCuir is in the seat, and we're going to talk about the Ashes to Anthems benefit concert. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580. We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I will rise 1,000 times again, and we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again.
KBLA Talk 1580. You're listening to the conversation live. Altadena Rising. Welcome forward. I'm your host, James Farr, and the program is sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. As promised, that was Andra Day, Rise Up. And as promised, I have Senior Pastor Jonathan DeCuir with Victory Bible Church. And today, like in 20 minutes, there is a benefit concert and resource fair that is happening in Pasadena at Memorial Park. It is Ashes to Anthems concert. I will be there. I want to see you there. Pastor PJ, you there? Good morning, brother.
Good morning, James. How you doing, bro?
Man, I am good. I know you're busy, and I mean, you're a preacher now. You've been a preacher. You're a pastor. That's what they say. I read it. And now you're a concert promoter, right? I know you're busy. What's happening today, PJ? I mean, you got Erica Campbell, Lecrae, D Smoke, Goapele, Andra Day, and then you were going to announce me as the special performer, right?
Yeah, the thing is, I had a special spot for you as the closer of the event, and that's what people don't know. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They don't know you was the special guest.
Who did you add to the show, brother? Because don't get these people excited, because it ain't enough space for my fan base and my singing chops, right? So who's the special guest that you added?
My special guest, man, is Mr. Wale himself. He'll be coming through here at some point in the day. They asked me not to announce the time, so he will be here. He will be in the building.
So what's behind this, PJ? Like, I know you're the senior pastor, and for folks outside of the area that don't know Victory, and PJ is PJ is also a PK, as am I, and so we sometimes are the worst ones, and but we're high achievers. I'm just waiting for my ordination into the bishophood of my cussing ministry. But what's behind the concert today, Doc?
Well, this is the thing, man. One of the things that I noticed right away in our community is that after about 3 to 4 weeks, the media and the attention started to leave our area. And so the issue with that is that, as you know, whenever attention leaves, then also resources leave, because people only feel and connect with and participate with what they can visibly see. So because of my background before preaching and entertainment, one of the things that I wanted to do was make sure that I use all those relationships and resources to bring attention back to the city. So first, it's attention. Secondly, it's important to me that we all just keep it 100 real about what's happening in our community when it comes to like something as simple as the amount per square footage that it's going to cost to rebuild these houses. I'm hearing numbers to the likes of $800 per square foot, which then makes it virtually impossible for some of our folks, especially black and brown people. Let's keep it 100.
Right.
Black and brown folks to rebuild their stuff. So, like, the reality of it is too is that how can we raise capital to help fill some of those gaps? And sure enough, man, there are foundations that have a boatload of money, and different organizations that got a boatload of money. But this is just me out here just saying it. Like, some of the criteria and stuff I'm unfamiliar with, and obviously some of the community members that live on the ground that's doing the work on the ground are also unfamiliar with it. And in some instances, we are being piecemealed and being slow dragged on this whole distribution. So my thing was, well, I'm not going to wait for someone to come do it for me. My homeboy Pablo from the Job Center, he said they say sola Pueblo, which means is it's like, hey, the people solve the people's problems. So as opposed to us waiting, this concert is a way for us to raise our own fund to be able to deliberate stuff directly to people and to be able to mitigate some of the gaps between what it's going to cost them to build their houses and actually what they have in hand.
You know, my burning question today, PJ, Pastor Jonathan DeCuir, Victory Bible Church, was, is faith without works dead? And I think this looks like a great example of putting that work right in. And there's a lot of faith. You know, since it's raining today, I'm gonna bring my little mustard seed out there to the park and see if I can plant it and sprout some good roots. But your church was impacted, right? Victory congregation was impacted. You had members that lost homes.
Oh yeah, 43 people lost homes, 90 impacted and displaced total.
Wow.
And so we have members in Long Beach, people in Compton, people in San Bernardino. I got some people that moved to Vegas, man, that still come here to go to church on the weekends.
Wow.
So, like, you know, this whole thing is on a whole nother level, and I simply want people to understand that.
So you know, I'm looking at, because I follow some of the stuff on social media, brother, and I don't think I've seen a church or congregation. This is no shot at any of the other ones. There are many doing great work, but you guys transparently, I almost put out like an annual report to kind of transparently show. So I'm in that space of transparent stewardship. Is that biblical? Does that make sense to you? Oh yeah. Well, you already preaching. Your ordination is coming in 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Hey, in 2 weeks. This is what I'm saying, bro. Is that the same thing that I'm holding other people to? We hold ourselves to. So to date, you know, we had donors come, and some of them said, "Hey, do this with the money." So, bro, in 2 months, we gave away a little bit over $1 million cash directly to people because that's what the donors said to do. We gave away 30 cars because that's what the donors said to do. And so what I'm just trying to show our community and some of these organizations is that, you know, we can actually solve our own problem. I want people to come and ask us what we need because we know what we need because we live here.
Wow. Hope and healing, Pastor. How does faith ground you know, how does faith ground the community and congregation? But when do we, you know, get up off our knees, man, and put it into work?
Oh man, you know, we already off our knees. We prayed already. So now it's time to actually gauge what came to us in prayer, what inspired us in prayer. And now let's actually put some legs and feet to it. Let's go do it so God can bless it. This is the thing, is that even when I'm not here to preach a sermon, but everybody knows the story.
I ain't gonna let you.
You ain't gonna let me because you know I get started. You know, everybody knows the story, man, of the two fishes and the 5 loaves of bread. The reality of it is this. Notice this, bro. In that story, the reality of it is that Jesus doesn't multiply where there's nothing.
You got to start with something.
Bring him. he had to start with something.
Right.
And this is what I'm trying to this is the thing. This is we started with something, bro. And to be honest with you, this thing actually got multiplied so fast out of my hands that I couldn't even, keep track of it. All of a sudden, boom! I have 3 or 4 artists right now that wanted to be on a ticket that I could not put on the ticket because we didn't have time. But we literally did not even anticipate this level of participation and interest. But, God multiplied it because we started with our 2 fishes and our 5 loaves, man. Well,
speaking of that fish sandwich, brother, tell us what's happening today, what time. We got just a little under a minute before we got to move forward.
All right, today we have the Ashes to Anthems concert. We have artists, wonderful artists. It starts at 11 a.m. You don't want to miss it. We know it's raining, but just pretend like you're at Coachella because it rains at Coachella and we still get it done. And so that's kind of where we at, and that's where we are driving to. And so I'm excited about it. Please come. And if you have experienced any loss, your house burned down or your house is impacted, please come and get these resources. It's also about that. We want to provide resources for people, and they are here on the premises.
Pastor, how can they reach you or reach the church? Real quick.
You can reach us. Come to 1497 North Hill in the city of Pasadena. Or you can go to, it's called holddena.org, HOLD, Dena.org. All the information is there, and we look forward to seeing y'all soon.
That's Pastor PJ, senior pastor at the Victory Bible Church in Pasadena, who's doing excellent work. Today, Ashes to Anthem concert, Erica Campbell, Goapele, Lecrae, Sun Wu, Asia Marie, the Victory Choir, all there. I'll be there emceeing at some point during the show. I want to see you there. When we come forward, I got some updates for you. Only on the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. We're sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least like to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place. For changes big and small. Loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about. When the flames subside, who ensures that the stories endure? At KBLA Talk 1580, we're committed to preserving the voices that shape our community. We know people have short memories. And as long as this Black Talk radio station is on the air, we will not let Altadena be forgotten. We are honored to announce that the Altadena Historical Society will officially archive our recent town hall alongside every episode of Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr. This is the show of record, the definitive source for tracking Altadena's roots, resilience, recovery, and reunion. These stories will now live on for students, scholars, researchers, and journalists seeking truth and legacy in the months and years to come. Because history isn't just made, it's honored, it's recorded, and it's passed forward. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
And welcome forward. You're listening to the Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. I'm your host, James Farr, and we are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. Quick updates. I want to, we're focusing on small business this morning, and on Thursday, May 15th, the California Black Chamber of Commerce invites you to a small business development workshop. You've probably heard the promotions here on the station. It happens from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Registration is required. It's an in-person event that will help you get certified and registered as a new bidder. You can apply for small business and disabled veteran enterprise certification. Learn how to sell products and services to the state of California. You want to contract directly with the state. This is a program that is for you, and information is for you as well. Pre-bid opportunity. So it's a host of resources and certification. Fortunately, our state is committed to doing business with a diverse group, and appreciative to California Black Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. For more information, you want to visit the California Black Chamber of Commerce or call 916-467-8878. That's visit calbcc.org or call 916-467-8878. Just quick thought, I appreciate the feedback on the show. I've received phone calls. I've received text messages. We get emails here at the station, and one of the things that kind of seems to come up, and it's not overwhelming. I know we heard a lot from our community at the town hall, 100 Days and Counting that happened last week in Pasadena. Our panel spoke very passionately about what their experience is. And, one particular listener, he said to me that it seems like there's a lot of doom and gloom, in the shows and listening to folks. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. I think I don't know if I would have framed it up that way, but since that's the language we're using, and I've even said before on air that it's not all doom and gloom. I think you just heard some joy and some hope from Brother Bennett and Pastor DeCuir. But really, this show is a reflection of the voice. It is echoing the voice of the community, and I know there's still a lot of conversation, right, around recovery. And so let me just put that into perspective. 1 building permit, 3 total in the county, but 1 building permit has been issued in Altadena. I want to tell some positive stories. I know there are some there. I've talked to people, and, there are some joyful moments, but right now where people are is truly in a space of relief. Let me say that again. Right now, people are still in a space of relief. They'll get to the recovery. But right now, we're talking about the roots of Altadena, the resilience of Altadena, We're getting to the recovery, and we're getting to the reunion. But events like today, at Memorial Park, this Ashes to Anthem concert, benefit concert, and resource fair. It's moments like that where community, those who have been, most impacted, the survivors who have been displaced, right? This is an opportunity for them to just be with each other, be in the same space, good music, good spirit, good energy, places like Perry's Joint. Those are places, those public spaces where people are enjoying each other's company and reconnecting. Our town hall the other week was a space where people were able to connect. But we'll get positive. I think this is positive, but right now, people are hurting. That's just the truth. And it's going to be a long road for recovery, right? And so we're not going to let the station or let the community be forgotten. And so we're going to tell the stories the way that the community, when the community is reflective and ready to come, and, Dr. Eshell Williams, who's been on our program, says she wants to have a party. Well, Eshell, we're going to do that. But when the community is ready to be in that more celebratory, joyous mode, you'll see that here with us. When we come forward, you know how we do it. Every Saturday, I got a slap that has a message in the music, only on KBLA. Talk 1580, your ancestors' favorite radio station.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
And welcome forward. You're listening to the conversation live, Altadena Rising. I'm your host, James Farr. We are sponsored in part by Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. It's that time. We're getting to the end of this hour. I appreciate Pastor DeCuir. I appreciate my good brother Perry Bennett, owner of Perry's Joint. Looking forward to seeing you all at the Ashes to Anthems concert, which is happening like right now. Memorial Park from 11 to 8 p.m. All-star lineup. I'll be emceeing, so I'll see you out there. I have a radical imagination. And so, but that is also grounded in spirituality and faith. And so I want to send us out today with really what I hear the community saying.
I confess, SOS, I need you daily. Can't lie, say the pain don't faze me. My God, who gonna help these babies?
I've been in the fire so long, I can't get burned no more. I thought you was putting out the flame, but it was rain from the storm. That's over my head, making me stressed all day long. They won't let me rest, that's on my chest. I ain't that strong. I need a lifeline right now. 911 won't do, my back's against the wall now. Done all that I could do. I prayed every prayer, went to every service like I know how. Just a ship without a sail, I'm lost without your help. I need help. Oh Lord, I need your help.
That's Erica Campbell and Lecrae. They're on the lineup today at the Ashes to Anthems concert. It's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising. I'm your host, James Farr. Angela Roddick Wright with the Legal Lens is up next. She has an amazing show. We'll see you next week. As always, Agape.
I need a lifeline right now. 911 won't do, my back's against the wall now. Done all that I could do. I prayed every prayer, went to every service like I know how. Just a ship.